An urban legend is pretty much just a modern day myth that people pass off as true, but most of the time there's little to no evidence at all to verify the authenticity of the story. These myths are often creepy, but some of them are humorous as well. Some urban legends that you are likely familiar with are Bloody Mary, Humans Can Lick Too, and The Babysitter Upstairs, which was actually made into a movie called When a Stranger Calls. Another popular urban legend that has a film adaptation is the Bunny Man. Like a lot of other urban legends, the Bunny Man has several different versions, and there was even a variation of the story posted on the Creepypasta wiki. The version of the legend that I'm going to tell you was posted on a website in the late 90s by someone named Timothy C. Forbes. This version states that an asylum in Clifton, Virginia was shut down because of a petition by the citizens of Fairfax County. As a result, the prisoners needed to be transferred to a new facility. During the transfer, one of the transportation vehicles crashed, which killed almost everyone in the vehicle, including the driver. 10 prisoners, however, ended up escaping. A search party was sent out to look for them, and they found all of them except for one named Douglas J. Griffin, who was institutionalized for killing his family and children on Easter Sunday. During this time, locals of the area found hundreds of skinned, half-eaten rabbits hanging from trees. Another search of the area took place, and the police found the body of a man named Marcus Walster, who seemed to be killed in a similar way to the rabbits. Eventually, the police found Griffin and pursued him in a chase that led to an overpass. Griffin escaped, but was then hit by a train. The police say that after the train passed, they heard laughter. People say that today, if you walk through the bridge tunnel under what is known as the Bunnyman Bridge in Clifton, Virginia at midnight, the Bunnyman will grab you and hang you from the bridge. As you could already guess, the myth is fake, which has been confirmed by a historian named Brian A. Conley, who put a lot of research into the Bunnyman legend. Conley says that in addition to a few inconsistencies with the legend, there has never been an insane asylum in Fairfax County. Plus, court records at the time never mentioned anything about someone named Griffin, who was the name of the criminal in the legend, or anyone named Walster, who was the name of the main victim in the legend. Now, I obviously think the myth is fake, but maybe there could be a little bit of truth to it. The myth originated with two strange incidents that happened in Virginia in 1970 involving a man in a rabbit costume threatening people with an axe. The first incident was reported on October 19, 1970. A man named Bob Bennett and his fiancée were driving home from a football game when they decided to park in a field to talk, although they probably did more than just that. Eventually, they noticed movement outside the car, and not long after, the front passenger window was smashed. Bennett turned the car around, all while the person who broke the window was screaming at them about trespassing. Bennett and his fiancée ended up losing him after driving away, but they discovered a hatchet on the car floor. Obviously, they called the police, and Bennett told the police that the attacker was wearing a white suit with long bunny ears. His fiancée, however, says it looked like the attacker was wearing a Ku Klux Klan hood. The second incident happened on October 29, 1970, only 10 days after the first incident. A construction security guard named Paul Phillips approached a man standing on the porch of an unfinished home who was wearing a gray, black, and white rabbit costume, was about 20 years old, 5'8", and weighed about 175 pounds. The man started chopping a porch post with an axe and said, "All you people trespass around here. If you don't get out of here, I'm going to bust you on the head." The Fairfax County Police did investigate both of these incidents, but eventually gave up due to a lack of evidence. However, over 50 people ended up calling the police in the weeks that followed, claiming that they saw the Bunny Man, and there were several newspaper articles written about it. One reason I think the first two incidents might have been legitimate is because of how similar they were. Both people reported a man wearing a rabbit costume who had an axe who yelled about people trespassing. I mainly think the part about the trespassing is too specific to be a coincidence. Although maybe the second guy who reported the incident only said that because he knew about the first incident. This is definitely possible since there was an article about the Bunny Man posted in the newspaper only a week before the second incident. And the 50 plus reports that happened in the following weeks could have just been people who wanted to help the myth grow. Although I really don't think it's too far-fetched to say that at one point, one person might have actually dressed up in a rabbit costume and scared people just to add more life to the myth. In conclusion, like many myths, this is most likely fake for the most part. Thank you for watching, and I will see you on the flip side.
Hello everyone, my name is Sir Spooks and welcome back to the remade and modernized Urban Legends series, now with a cool new intro coming up in a few seconds. In this episode we will take a look at a truly disturbing Japanese urban legend called Teke. The legend takes place in the years after World War II. A female office worker in Mororan, Hokkaido, was assaulted and raped by American personnel, which led her to leaping off a bridge onto the railroad tracks. She was hit by an oncoming train and the forceful impact cut her body in half at the waist. Because the night was so cold, her blood vessels contracted, which prevented blood from bleeding out too quickly. For several minutes, she was suffering, squirming and wriggling about for help. She somehow managed to crawl all the way to a nearby train station where she was spotted by a station attendant. One might think the attendant would try to help, but instead he just covered her with a plastic tarp. She died a slow and painful death. Now, according to legend, 3 days after hearing this exact story, you will eventually see the ghost of a woman with no lower half. The ghost is that of the same woman who was sliced in half by the train. She will try to catch you, but trying to escape is impossible, even in car, as she can crawl at speeds of up to 150 kilometers per hour. So why is she after you? Well, some say she is searching for her missing legs. Others say she is angry at humanity for not helping her when she was dying, which has led to her slaughtering as many people as she can. According to some versions of the legend, if she catches up to you, she will ask you a riddle. If you answer correctly, she may just let you live. But if you answer incorrectly, she will tear you in half and steal the lower half of your body. In order to have a chance of survival, this is what you must do. She will ask you, "Do you need your legs?" To this you must reply, "I need them right now." Then she will ask you, "Who told you my story?" To this you must reply, "Kashima Reiko," which means mask, death, demon, ghost, accident. The Teke gets her name from the sound that she makes from running about with her arms, creating the distinctive Teke sounds, from which it gets her name. Perhaps the most famous story regarding a Teke encounter revolves around a young boy who was leaving his school one evening when he heard a noise somewhere behind him. When he looked back, he saw a beautiful girl sitting at a window. He found this to be odd, as it was an all-boys school. The girl had her arms propped up on the windowsill and was staring at him. She then smiled at him and started hugging herself so that she was holding her elbows. Suddenly, she jumped out the window and landed on the ground. The boy, in absolute horror, realized that she was missing her lower half. She then chased him down, but he was unable to move, absolutely frozen by sheer fright. Within seconds, she took out a scythe and cut him in half. Now, since I just told you the story of Teke, you should expect to see her in 3 days. If you do, remember to answer her riddle correctly. Good luck. Special thanks to ALJ Compositions who composed the intro music for the Urban Legends series. His work is incredible, so go check out his YouTube channel. Link is in the description. Also thanks to the following patrons.
Kuchisake Onna is a vengeful ghost that haunts Japan and goes after children in particular. She'll ask them a question, and if you get the answer right, then you're safe. The trouble is, there is no right answer.
In the late 1970s and early 1980s, stories start appearing of children who are on their way home from school and they're stopped by a woman who's wearing a surgical mask. And in America, that would tell us something is wrong. But in Japan, that's not uncommon at all. If you catch a cold, as a courtesy to everybody else, you wear a mask until your cold is gone. So that in itself is no cause for alarm.
But in the case of Kuchisake Onna, it should be.
Her eyes, her nose, her hair, her stature all look attractive. And she will ask you the question, am I pretty?
私類全然
If you say no, she's carrying a pair of scissors, and with these scissors, she will kill you. If you say yes, she will remove the surgical mask to reveal that somewhere along the line, somebody has slit her mouth clear up to the ears. If you try to escape, you're still out of luck, because no matter which way you turn, she will appear in front of you again and repeat the challenge.
Since the Middle Ages, he's been depicted as, this red beast with horns and pitchfork and hoofs and tail.